Welcome to 49ers After Dark. And yeah, I'm late. I'm a few minutes late. That's what happens here at 49ers After Dark. We make you, wait a little bit, be fashionably late. I'm here with Jesse Naylor, who just started a new show with Jack Hammer, who's a friend of the show. Make sure you subscribe to Jesse and check out that show. Jesse, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm really excited to talk Niners. There's been a lot of moves since we talked last and a lot of crazy rumors, and you and I don't agree on some of them. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about it.
All right, let's start with Minshew.
Yeah.
Because every week there's a new guy that I don't know if it's like reported or rumored or it's just someone's connecting the dots. But this week it's Minshew. Last week it was Flacco. The week before that it was Darnold. People are thinking, well, since
don't forget Trubisky.
Oh, there was Trubisky along the way as well. How could I forget Trubisky? People are saying now that the Jaguars have signed CJ Beathard, they're clearly going to get rid of Gardner Minshew. Who else but the 49ers, who are linked to everyone, would be interested in Minshew? It seems like you're not opposed to this. Sell me on Gardner Minshew.
All right. So I'm not going to necessarily sell you on Gardner Minshew, but what I am going to sell you on is getting rid of Jimmy, which should be pretty easy. Should be pretty easy, right?
Well, all right, let me put it to you this way. No, go ahead. You go ahead. And then I'll go ahead.
I was just going to say my thought process is this. We bring in Gardner. It doesn't necessarily mean that we can't draft a rookie. And if we can dump Jimmy and have three young guys who don't make a lot of money, who are hungry to be starters in this league, competing for a starting job, I don't think that there really is a better scenario other than having the guy locked in long-term, let's say a Watson or what have you. It's the same reason that I wanted Trubisky. It wasn't that I necessarily thought Trubisky would be the guy, but I felt like he was hungry for a starting position. He wouldn't cost a lot of money. And it was the ability to move on from Jimmy while also bringing in a rookie and having three guys compete. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
No, I think that's logically sound. I'm into it. Here's the thing. I just feel like the 49ers won't move off of Jimmy for Gardner Minshew. If they're bringing in Gardner Minshew, it's not to replace Jimmy. It's to back Jimmy up.
Yeah.
And if they really want to go 1-2 Jimmy and Gardner, that's a waste of time. Just draft a guy. Like if they were to see him as a replacement for Jimmy, fine. But look, I would do it. You would do it. That takes some actual stones that they haven't demonstrated. They've been real cautious about the quarterback position. And I feel like they would replace Jimmy for someone that is a no-brainer, like Deshaun Watson, but anything else, they're scared.
Yeah.
They're a little scared.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. It sounds to me like your interpretation is going to be that they're just not going to draft a quarterback. Like this is their excuse to not draft a quarterback and not move on from Jimmy. Is that kind of where you're at with it?
I'm not there. I mean, no, I think, here's what I think. I think the Gardner Minshew thing is bogus. I think Jeremy Fowler's guessing. And it's a good guess, but I think only two people know what the Niners are going to do, and it's Kyle and Mike Shanahan. I don't think they're telling anyone, maybe not even John Lynch, for good reason.
Yeah,
they might want to trade up in the draft. They might want to take someone unexpected at 12. But I think they're keeping Jimmy most likely. Can we agree that they're most likely keeping Jimmy?
Yeah, we can agree on that.
It seems like they're kind of keeping Jimmy, and they've filled way more holes in free agency than we expected they would.
For sure.
They got all these guys on one-year deals. There's to the point where there's not necessarily a position at 12 where you're like, they have to take it. They can benefit from a corner, but they don't have to take a corner. Right. I think they're set up to take a freaking quarterback at pick 12, let him sit for a year, and if Jimmy has this triumphant return and goes 13-3 and takes a team to the Super Bowl, then fine, keep him. If not, now you have a guy who's been in the system a year and can take over in year 2, and as opposed to drafting a rookie next year.
Right. Okay, that's fair. And I will say this. I mean, we kind of had the speculation that they had to get rid of Jimmy in the offseason if they wanted to afford all the guys that they wanted to bring back or go out and get in free agency. Well, now that they've basically done all of that, there really is no rush to get rid of Jimmy. So I can understand that. One thing that I can't stop thinking about, though, is for some reason those damn rumors Jimmy to New England are not ending. Like they keep going on. So what is there something to that? Is it legitimately nothing? I don't know, but it definitely has to be something that's in the back of everybody's mind.
But again, I feel like New England Belichick is a lot like Kyle and Mike. Like who really knows what Bill Belichick's going to do? You think Bill Belichick's whispering that thing to like 17 people and then some? No,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
there's very connected people that know the team and are making educated guesses, but ultimately no one knows what New England or the Niners are going to do.
Yeah.
So I don't put too much stock in those reports.
I don't think John Lynch knows what the Niners are going to do.
That's what they said in New England, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just going out, and maybe Kyle feels like, hey, let him go out and talk. That'll just be like smokescreen city. He can't even give it away if he wanted to.
Let me ask you this.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you, do you think if they do draft a quarterback with either that 12th pick or they move up, do you think Jimmy's gone, or do you think he's going to be the bridge? Like, no matter what, you think he's staying?
I think he'll be the bridge.
Okay.
I think he'll be the bridge, and they'll say, look, Jimmy, it's either you or him. It's your team this year. If you stay healthy and you play well, we won't get rid of you. If you don't play well, we got your replacement right here. Sorry, dude. And don't complain about us not getting you anything in round one because we got you Trent Williams, Alex Mack, freaking everything in free agency. You're good.
Everyone he's going to fold in that scenario, right, Grant? He'll fold mentally. Like, there's no way that he's going to hold up to that mentally. We know what type of quarterback he is.
And that's why it's even more imperative that they draft a quarterback in round 1 or round 2 and not wait until the 103rd pick to take CJ Beathard 2.0. Now, I don't know. Here's the thing. Who's it going to be? I don't think Kyle would take Lance or Fields. When I see people, now you could say Lance maybe because, well, in my scenario, he's going to sit for a year behind Jimmy anyway. I just don't think Kyle wants to develop quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Guys who need to work on their mechanics or their processing. I don't think that's the kind of development he wants to do. He wants to teach his system.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I have no idea what the heck Kyle wants to do. I feel like I change my thought on this almost every week, but I know what I would do. I'm definitely not taking Mac Jones at 12 or trading up to get Mac Jones.
I think he would take Mac Jones at 12. I think he would take Mac Jones at 12. Would he trade up for Mac Jones? I don't think you can do that.
No
I don't think they can do that.
No way. Please don't.
No, but I think if Jones is there at 12, I think they'll take him. I think they'll take him. Now, if Jones is not there at 12 and it's Fields or Lance, I don't think they'd take Fields or Lance. I think that's where Chris Sims ranking Mond ahead of those two. I think that's a peek into Kyle Shanahan's psyche and his draft board. I think he would as well. Now, would he take Mond at 12? Maybe not. Maybe you see the trade down there, or maybe I've been reading a lot from McShay and Kuiper, and they all kind of expect Mond and Trask to be taken in that mid-second round area. So maybe if they don't get Mac Jones, they feel that they can get one of those two at 43, in which case, great. But if they don't do one of those things, like they don't get one of those three quarterbacks, I'm questioning it. They're not going to get Zach Wilson. And I don't think that he's that great anyway.
Well, I'll say this. You love that Moneyball scenario at quarterback. And if I'm just being honest, Mac Jones at 12, I don't know if there's a better Moneyball scenario than Mac Jones, because he's one of those guys that could come in right away and play. And I'm not a big Mac Jones guy, but I think that he could come in right away and play. He will be slightly above average at the very least for 4 to 5 years. And then you can move on. If that's something that you want to do, I could see why you would actually like us taking Mac Jones, because I feel like he would be that perfect Moneyball quarterback. That's just my personal opinion on it.
I prefer Trask and Mond to Mac Jones. I do.
Okay.
But
do you prefer them because they're round 2, or do you prefer them because
straight up prefer them?
Okay. All right.
Straight up prefer them. But
I'm with you, by the way.
Yeah. No, I understand that Mac Jones is ahead of those two on most people's big boards. And if the Niners were to take Mac Jones at 12, I wouldn't be thrilled about it. But at the same time, I'd say good pick. You know what? Yeah. Good pick. But it's better than freaking taking anything else other than a quarterback. You got to do it and just get it right. So I don't know. I know it's tough to draft a quarterback in round 1. Just get it right.
Yeah.
Because you passed on the dude in 2017 and you used the same lot. Don't do it again. You got to at least give yourself a chance. How many round 3 quarterbacks really turn into franchise quarterbacks?
You're right.
It's like Joe Montana, Russell Wilson, and that's it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let me ask you this. Do you think the Niners are in a position to take best player available? Because this is kind of what's going around 49ers fandom right now is, hey, we've gotten everybody we want. We can just go best available, even if it's Kyle Pitts. Do you really think the 49ers are in a position to take best available?
No, because they have a big issue at quarterback.
Okay.
I mean, everyone's saying that the Niners are like have a great offseason. They just got everyone they needed, but no one really takes the Niners seriously as a playoff contender. Why? Because their quarterback position. Right. And people are saying, oh, they need a better backup quarterback. Well, that means they're not Super Bowl contenders right there. Yeah, no Super Bowl contenders having the backup quarterback position. Right there.
Nobody.
That just disqualifies them. So, I mean, again, like they're not committed to Jimmy Garoppolo long term. They've decided he's the best option for them this year. Yeah. And maybe they're right. You know what I mean? They made the point that they didn't need his cap space, and they do have a winning record with him, and yada, 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 yada. Fine. Doesn't mean he's the best option for them next year.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And he could get hurt again. He could have another down year. What is the exit strategy next year if he doesn't have a rebound season? Draft a guy then? Nah, you don't want to wait. Draft him now. And if you're drafting him at the end of round 3, chances are it's going to be some guy who doesn't matter. And you're going to have to draft a quarterback in round 1 next year. And I don't even know what that draft class is like.
No idea. I haven't looked into it. I mean, there's a couple guys that I know that didn't come out this year that I like. Brock Purdy, let's say. But I don't know if he's going to be a number 1 pick. And I don't know where we're going to be picking to even get a guy. So who knows? I agree with you. We got to get our guy this year.
Yeah, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are going to do it. I mean, I'm trying to step away and just because I'm real, I really analyze closely the Niners. I'm trying to step away as someone who was just looking at them once. Yeah. Once this offseason is like, well, I mean, they've pretty much addressed every single freaking thing except quarterback. Yeah. If they do get Gardner Minshew, then you say, well, they probably won't take a quarterback in round 1. But until they do something like that, it seems like it's almost obvious that they're waiting to take a quarterback in round 1. The question is who.
Right.
And I don't know if Mac Jones will be there at 12. I just don't think they'll do Fields. I just don't think that's a Kyle Shanahan kind of quarterback.
I'm with you. It's funny, it's kind of funny watching you over the last 24 hours because I feel like you literally are taking a step away and just trying to analyze it as if you're not somebody who covers the 49ers and knows the ins and outs of the way that Shanahan operates. Like you're trying to look at it the way that everybody else does. And it's kind of interesting to see people like, oh, wow, Grant's really positive and he's really looking at things differently. I can see it.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Joe Montana made it so simple to me. He's like, they just need to draft a quarterback. It's like, that's it. End of story. Every time I see, well, maybe Gardner Minshew. No. Just get it right at 12. Man up. Yeah. Get it right. I don't know what to tell you. Mac Jones, I think that's a good one. If you could get Kyle Trask at 43, that would be better. If you could get Mond at 43, that would be better. But just do one of those. If you take Lance at 12, hey, man, you're on your own. Good luck. Good freaking luck.
Why is nobody talking about Mac Jones's pro day? It was horrible. I didn't.
I saw the throws.
I thought it was pretty bad, actually. Just being real.
No, the passing session. Yeah, they kept showing the. I was watching like check them out. Check out these dimes. Like, that one was underthrown, and that one was underthrown.
Yeah, I don't think
funny when people say like he's got a pretty good arm. Yeah. Kyle Trask, on the other hand, has a baby arm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, what stuck out to me about Mac Jones was he ran a 4.7. I was like, oh wow, I didn't expect that from him. So at least he can get outside the pocket on bootlegs and stuff. But yeah, his arm is super overrated.
Well, not only that, but there was literally a point where I was watching it and it was like his third overthrow on a sideline go route. And no joke, the guy who's announcing goes, "Oh, that's the first time we've seen that today." I'm like, Are you trying to tell people like that we didn't just watch the other two and that was the third time? I don't know. It was really weird to watch. But and then again, the few people that I've kind of called out that are Mac Jones guys, they're like, well, he didn't have Waddle and Smith there. Okay. It's a pro day. He's throwing against air. What do you mean? Yeah. He should be ready for this.
Yeah, but when Kyle Trask had that bad game against Oklahoma without his guys, people were just like, you know what? He's dead to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty funny.
Yep. All right. So should we do the next part of our show where we go position by position?
Do the thing that we
the thing that we want to do. Hold on. Need my water.
You're good.
So
is this like a paid advertisement?
No, I would never stoop so low.
Right.
Okay, so how are we going to do this?
All right. So my thought is I've been kind of down on the Niners, and the last couple of times I've come on your show, there's the advertisement again. The last couple of times I've come on your show, I know that a lot of people in the chat's like, oh God, these guys are just so negative. I can't take it anymore. So I figured why not be a little positive and actually go position group by position group, ranking them based off of how they rank against other teams in the league. And so the way that I see it is you're either elite, above average, average, or below average. Okay. So the way that I view elite would be like your top three. So quarterback, if you have a Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers,
all pro potential.
Yes. So that would be elite. Above average would be, let's say, 4 to 12 range. Average would be 13 to 19 range, and then below average would be anything worse than that. So that's kind of where I see it. I think we can start with quarterback. I think we both probably know where we're going to put Jimmy. I'm personally going to put him below average. I think he falls in that 19 to 21 range, which in my category would make him below average. Would you agree with that?
That's a tough one. In 2019, I felt he was average, but in 2020, it was bad.
Yeah, he was really bad.
Is he 2020 Jimmy or is he 2019 Jimmy? Because I felt like in 2019 you could say he was average.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely average. I don't know. The problem is with me, even when Jimmy was at his best, I would text my buddies during a game and say, every time he drops back, like, I think he's going to turn the ball over. So even at his best, he freaked me out every time he dropped back. Like, that's not what you want in a quarterback.
Let's say this, because we're judging the entire position group, not just Jimmy.
That's true.
And, they have Josh Rosen, who we don't even know if they're invested in. Let's be honest.
For sure.
We don't even know. And Josh Johnson, who's like 35.
Right.
So it's below average right now.
Okay.
If they draft a quarterback in round 1 in 5 weeks and it's the right guy, this will totally change.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
The fact that it is below average right now really dictates that this is something they need to address in round 1 or round 2. It is below average when you look at the entire picture of it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, like Jimmy, when healthy, you could say he can be an average starting quarterback, but he's not healthy all the time. He's 29. He's expensive. There's no clear-cut backup on the roster and no clear-cut young quarterback who's being developed that they're invested in. Yeah, that's below average situation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the backfield. Running backs, fullback. To me, I think it's clear cut. They are not elite because they don't have, let's say, a Chubb or a Henry or a Barkley or anybody like that. But they are clearly above average, and they're probably closer to elite than they are to average on my scale because they've got 2 guys that can tote the rock and do it very effectively. And they've got Juszczyk back there. So that Juszczyk by himself is absolutely elite. The other 2 are not quite there, but they're definitely above average. So I would say that position group is above average.
Yeah, they're like above average plus or elite minus.
Yeah.
The only thing that holds them back from being elite is durability, particularly Mostert and Wilson. Neither one has had that 16-game crazy season. Mostert came close in 2019. I guess he kind of did do it. Right. But
they've had elite stretches or elite games.
They really have. And that's why I feel like it's this close to being an elite, backfield combination of people. Because not any one of them is the kind of guy that you would want to say give 250, 300 touches a season. I don't think anyone's built for that, but they don't have to be. Together, they really complement each other really well. It's just even with Mostert getting 10 touches a game, sometimes that can be too much for him.
Yeah.
So, and Jeff Wilson Jr. still has stuff to prove. But if those 2 can actually stay healthy next year, we don't really talk about what a big deal that would be for this team. I mean, things are so easy for the whole team when Mostert and Jeff Wilson are rolling. The defense's job gets easier. They win time of possession. Jimmy's job is so much easier. Deebo Samuel doesn't have to do as much. So kind of people take them for granted, but no, they're very important. And yes, they're above average at minimum. I also like JaMychal Hasty, although he's just flashed. And it's a good point to bring up Juszczyk because I often forget about him when I do my post-game grades. I have to go back and be, he's definitely part of the running back group. Yeah. He's good.
Yeah, he is. He's very good. So that's kind of where I have him, and they're close. For me, when I was looking at this, I wanted to look strictly at talent. I didn't want to look at injuries or anything like that, because I feel like that's a separate category and we can kind of touch on that later. But like that's an intangible category. And I get it, best abilities, availability, but I just wanted to look strictly from a talent standpoint. And as I started to go through the roster and break it down at this level, I could see why 49er fans have a lot of optimism as to how far that this team can go. Because from a talent perspective, as you break it down, you're like, well, yeah, they actually are pretty much above average minimum everywhere. And so that brings me to my next point.
Except the most important position.
Right. Well, yes. Yes.
And that's the conundrum. That's the 2021 Niner conundrum.
Of course.
Yes.
So if we move on to offensive line, I think, again, they're above average. They've got an elite left tackle. They've got a very good center, although he is aging. I know that we don't like McGlinchey, but from the run perspective, he actually is an elite blocker if you pay attention to PFF. From the pass perspective, he's well below average. So he's kind of there. The guards aren't the best, but they also aren't necessarily the worst, So as I was going through it, there really isn't a lot of elite offensive lines anymore in the NFL. I look at like the Saints, maybe the Colts. The Browns are actually pretty good. They put together a heck of an offensive line, but I don't think we're that far off as far as an overall offensive line. I would say that we're definitely above average there as well.
See, I'm more skeptical of the 49ers offensive line. The way I look at them is it's the same offensive line that last year, that offensive line was below average. And it's the same offensive line as last year plus Alex Mack. Yeah. Now, Alex Mack is an upgrade, but I still have some questions as to what he can do at 36 years old and what kind of effect he can have on the rest of the line. I'm going to say it's average until proven otherwise. I'm just going to err on the side of skepticism with this offensive line because it was worse than the sum of its parts last year. Maybe Alex Mack will tie that together.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I'm also you and I have had these conversations. I don't think our offensive line is as bad as everybody wants to make it out. I think our quarterback's slow decision-making is as bad as we want to make it out. I broke this down before. Our quarterbacks last year had 2.4 seconds to throw the ball on average. Ben Roethlisberger had 2.1 seconds. Right? Ben Roethlisberger also only took 17 sacks to where Jimmy Garoppolo the year prior, when also having 2.4 seconds, took 36 sacks. So how much of that is actually on the quarterback? When I look at Drew Brees, and I just said the Saints and the Colts had elite offensive lines, Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers also, by the way, had 2.4 seconds on average. So is the offensive line really as bad as we want to make it out to be? Or is the quarterback play and slow decision-making really kind of hindering the offensive line just as much as it could go the other way? That's the way that I see it.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Okay.
All right, what's the next one?
All right, so for me, the next thing we would look at would be pass catchers. And I'm going to say that they're elite because...
So you're including tight ends? And
I'm going to include tight ends, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to include tight ends.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, when you look at pass catchers, it technically could be the running backs, anybody that's going to catch a pass in there. So we got running backs, we got Juszczyk, who is a weapon, regardless of his usage rate. He is a weapon. You've got Kittle, who's arguably the best tight end in the game. And the only thing that holds me back a little bit is as much as I love Ayuk and as much as I love Debo, neither of them have broken 1,000 yards yet in the NFL. So yes, there's a lot of potential, but we haven't necessarily seen it yet. And we don't know necessarily who's going to play that slot role. But when you encompass everything all in, I think that they're elite.
Certainly above average. No question.
Definitely above average. Yes.
The only thing holding it back from being elite, in my opinion, is durability.
Yeah.
I mean, Kittle missed 8 games.
For sure.
Debo missed more.
Sure.
Ayuk missed 4. Mostert, Wilson. Yeah. If they can, I think there was some crazy stat like Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle played like 180 snaps together last year, something ridiculous.
Well, Debo tweeted it out when he was making the case that everybody should be worried when the 49ers are healthy because that's the way the 49ers think.
Right.
So, yeah, he whatever it is, go follow Debo if you aren't already. I'm sure you are, but you can go through his timeline. He actually laid out that stat.
They definitely have elite potential. I'll put it that way. They have to be on the field together. But if they could do that, if they could all play 16 games, yeah, I would say I can't think of really a better collection. But they have to prove it. That's all I'm saying. But they have elite potential for sure.
Yeah, they do. And so, like I said, for me, I'm not really. I just want to take injury out because I want to have a good, positive show for the people watching so that they know that I'm also a 49er fan.
I just can't crown people before they've earned it.
And injury is a big deal. I think let's try to table that the best we can, and we'll get to that at the end, because I've got an intangibles list that I want to go through, and I really think that's where we can get into that. Okay. All right. Sure. So let's
Hold on real quick. District 13 says Foles beat Brady already, and we'll face him in the Super Bowl. He'll be a perfect backup for Jimmy. Well, I don't think the Niners are going to face Brady in the Super Bowl, but in the NFC Championship game,
I'll tell you one thing.
Foles, man, come on, that dude. No, man, no.
Listen, District 13, if there's one thing I can promise, I will book it and stamp it right now. Brady will not play San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Don't worry about that.
Johns George says, Grant, look at the comparisons with Stafford and Murray. I can't click the link. I'm in the middle of a show. I can't.
I kind of want to. It's like the red button, and I would love for you to just click it, but I don't think that it even.
No, I can't. But Gardner, it says, the link says Gardner Minshew is Washington's best option at quarterback. I just kind of don't feel like he's no one's best option at quarterback.
We're not Washington, by the way. I don't know if you know what team you're rooting for here, but it's not Washington.
All right, so we just did pass catches. What's the next one?
Okay, so let's go defensive line.
Okay.
And for me, we're above average. 2019, I know that's run it back year. We'd like to stay in that era. Was definitely elite. But right now we're above average. I know that I said that we're not going to necessarily take injury into account here, but you do have to talk about the fact that, let's say Bosa stays healthy for all 16 games. We don't know what he's going to be when he comes back. So I'm not guaranteeing that he's A, going to play every snap like he's used to playing, and B, that he's going to be effective all season long, because I don't know what he's going to look like, and I don't trust this staff as far as helping him get there. We've got Kinlaw, who's young and promising. Again, he had surgery in the offseason. How's he going to recover?
Yeah.
We know what Armstead is. We know what Armstead is not. I know that there's some hope for Ebucom and possibly even Ford, but I don't know until I see it. So while there is a good collection of talent, I cannot say that they're elite at this point, because when I look at the defensive line, I'm also taking into account teams that played the 3-4 defense and would have somebody, let's say like a Von Miller as their edge rusher, or TJ Watt. While they're not technically defensive linemen, they are rushing the passer like a defensive lineman would. So those teams I'm taking into account for as well. And I cannot say that they're elite at this point.
No, there's some serious defensive lines out there. Now, when the Niners had Buckner, Armstead, Bosa, and Ford, that was an elite defensive line.
Elite. Yes, absolutely.
When they lost Ford, it was above average.
For sure.
When they lost
even with
Bosa,
Buckner on the team.
Even with Buckner. When they lost Bosa and Buckner, I thought they were surprisingly average.
Yeah.
Considering all that they lost. I mean, they were an average group that played hard. Yeah. Kostic did a really good job. If Bosa comes back and plays the way he did, then they're back to being above average. But until then, I think they're a try-hard, average unit. And in a good way, because it's a very good team in other places. So average obviously, the expectation will be above average if Bosa.
For sure.
The expectation it's above average. But still, I want to see that. I just want to see.
Absolutely. There is a lot of question marks.
Yeah, I mean, Santa Clara is setback city, so I want to see. I don't want to speak that into existence.
No, please.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Ronald Blair never came back, so I want to know.
That's true. No, that's a very good point. Okay, so let's move on to the linebacking core. So this one was probably the toughest for me to rank, because we obviously know that Fred Warner is elite, like elite of the elite. He is arguably the best middle linebacker in the game. So I was thinking to myself, well, if he's elite, the rest of them, maybe not so much, so they're above average. But I really started to go through the linebacking cores in the NFL, and the teams that I would normally have ahead of them really took major slides back last year. You look at Minnesota with Anthony Barr. He fell off completely. Like, he was terrible last year. And that's a team that I would have normally put ahead of them, but I don't think they're there anymore. I look at the Colts. They took a slide back last year. And you look at Seattle right now, KJ Wright's not even guaranteed to come back. So it's possible that San Francisco definitely has a top 3 linebacking core when it's all said and done. And so based off of my criteria, I got to put him as elite.
I would put him as elite. I don't really consider the Sam linebacker. Like, Aziz is fine, but it's basically a nickel defense in the league now. And I'm looking at basically those 2 guys. Yeah. And I think they're elite. I think there's a segment of Cool Guy 49er Twitter that's like, actually, Dre Greenlaw's not that good.
Yeah.
It's like, I like Dre Greenlaw.
I do too.
I saw the defense with Quan at will, and I've seen the defense with he's been the best will linebacker that they had in 4 years.
Yeah.
And people say like, oh, well, his assignments aren't that tough. He just has to run and hit. Yeah, that's the will linebacker job, is to run and hit and to not, do what Quan Alexander did, was to like run the wrong direction or miss tackles. Just run really fast the right direction and hit that dude really freaking hard. And Greenlaw does that. I don't know. I think he's a really good compliment to Warner, who's heady, smart, versatile, but not the fastest, not the most violent. I think Greenlaw is a nice compliment. I think that's an elite duo.
I agree. And it's one of those situations too, where if you're an outsider, you're probably looking at PFF, and I don't know what his grade is, but I'm sure it's probably not the best. Right. I don't really care. I can go off of what my eyes tell me, and my eyes tell me that Greenlaw is pretty freaking good. Like I see it all the time. And I think to your point, even though he flies around a bit, he's also very, very smart and plays well within the system. So I like Greenlaw a lot.
Yeah, I watched Quan Alexander miss assignments. Every play, or just not care. Just be like, you know what? I got a hunch. I'm doing what I want to do. At least Dre Greenlaw plays team football. He's true to the scheme, and I think that's a good thing. So
yeah, I would say the only linebacking core, honestly, that I could say is definitely above them would be Tampa Bay.
I agree. And, I'm not certain that Fred Warner is better than Levante David or even Devin White. Those 2 guys are just so violent.
Yeah.
So violent.
Yeah.
But
they're both very good.
Yes.
Quan's hype videos definitely are elite. I'm not going to
best thing about him, they're legendary.
They are legendary. God, did you know that he tore his Achilles at the end of last year? I didn't even know. I didn't pay attention to him.
He did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was looking him up because I was like, well, maybe there's an off chance he comes back. I know 49er fans were looking at it. He tore his Achilles.
See, that's the thing. Like when he tore his ACL and the Niners signed him, I'm like, guys, this is a bad sign. Often with these football players, it was a non-contact ACL. Yeah. It just means that your body is starting to go. It's like you have a car and you just had a major breakdown. Yeah. And you just do this. Chances are there's going to be another one in about 10,000 miles. I'm just guessing. Yeah. I can't prove it. Yeah. And then boom. Look at Klay Thompson with the Warriors. It's just the way that these athletes. It's sad, and hopefully there's it doesn't go that way. But yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it does suck for sure. Okay, so cornerbacks.
Corners.
This one was
not TBs, just corners. Okay.
Not just corners, Okay. So I'm gonna go above average, slightly though. Like it's close for me.
Oh, that's fair. That's
because I feel like going into the 2020 season, K1 was an elite nickel corner, and he was rated as such.
Yeah.
The Stinger is elite. He was rated as such. Verrett, the only 2 years that he's actually been healthy, he's been actually pretty elite, honestly. He's very, very good. Verrett is very good. And
yeah, he really is.
Mosley, I like Mosley a lot.
Solid.
Let's be honest. He's solid.
I like him.
But I think he's slightly below average. So, but as a whole,
yeah, I think so too. I think it's fair.
So I would put him as
the nicest thing you say about Mosley is he's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
He's one of the 64 best corners in the world.
But he deserves to be a starter. Like
he definitely is a starting quarterback, but I would say probably below average, probably in the 50s, high 40s of overall rank. Anyway.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say that group's above average as well.
I think it's above average. Yeah. They could use another guy. They could use someone bigger. They could use a little
JC Horn.
They could use a little youth. I mean, they corner the market on 30-year-old corners. I mean, they got that.
They do.
So,
yes, they do.
They really do. But yeah, no, it's an above average group. And last year I felt that Jason Verrett was so good that he almost was the MVP. So yes, above average group. It's funny how the formula in 2019 was elite defensive line. What was it? Like basically average secondary at best, average, you know? And now it's kind of flipped. And I think that's the way I would build defenses. I'm not saying you just disregard defensive line, but you can get good defensive linemen in the third day of the draft. And if you have a defensive line coach like Chris Kosarick, you can have a rotation of guys and get by. But you can't. There's nothing. If you have a weak corner, you're just gonna get Brian Allen all day.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
So John George is back this time with appreciate you very much. Thank you for sticking with us. From the article, Mississippi State mudflap finished with more touchdowns than number one pick Kyler Murray and compiled a 6-6 record. Average yards, Stafford, Minshew. Okay, so he's saying that Minshew's better than Stafford and Kyler Murray. That if the Niners were to get Minshew, that they would have the second best quarterback in the division.
Come on. Here's the thing about stats. And
are there some real Minshew fans out there? Man.
I think there is. Yes, of course there is. Of course there is.
Jeez,
there should be.
There were Jimmy fans. Minshew mania. Wow.
Yeah, Minshew mania. Here's the thing about stats, and there is nobody quicker to pull a stat than me. So I'm guilty of this as well. Whatever story you want to tell, you can pretty much tell with stats as long as the guy that you're trying to portray is great, is at least decent. Because there's going to be a number or two. They did this with Jimmy all 2019, by the way. He was the only quarterback that is top 5 in these 4 categories or whatever the hell it was. They made it seem like he was elite.
Then we got to the playoffs and he threw like 8 times. They made it seem like he's the best deep thrower in the league.
They did it with Mullins, by the way, last year too. Well, Jimmy, when he's in the game, he's like 36th overall in deep throwing ranking. But Mullins is top 3. Like there was that stat for a while too. We knew that Mullins was not an elite deep thrower. Like anybody watching the game knew that. Yeah. So I appreciate the stat. And again, I'm with you. Let's bring in Minshew. Let's bring in 3 young cats to kind of compete for the position. But
that's just a level of boldness the Niners have not exhibited. Exhibited.
You're right. I don't disagree with you. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that it should.
I definitely think it'd be cool. But what I'm saying is, I think we can agree on it. If the Minshew plan is to have him back up Jimmy, no,
absolutely not.
Nope. If the plan is to have him replace Jimmy, hey, nice Niners. I like your chutzpah. Way to go for it, man. That's great. But no. If the plan is, well, we don't really like the quarterbacks that we'll have available to us in the draft, so we're going to get Minshew. No, that's a cop-out. Pick one of these quarterbacks. Make it work.
Well, I think that maybe I was portraying maybe my fears on you earlier in saying that if they bring in Minshew, maybe they're not going to draft a quarterback, because that worries the hell out of me. You've got a full quarterback room at that point. Why would you draft a quarterback?
That's what I'm saying.
2 of them, by the way, are young.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I read it. If they bring in Minshew, it is in lieu of drafting a quarterback. Yeah. And that's not okay. That is not okay. No.
God, I feel like I'm in trouble.
All right, so let's do safeties.
So, all right. So I know that Rich tweeted out that the safeties have to be top 5 at this point. And I think that they, as far as a tandem, I think they're close, and maybe they are, but for me, they're definitely not top 3. So I have to go above average.
Man, I want to say above average, but I just feel like Jaquiski Tartt in particular has demonstrated that he really can't play a full season. He's almost like a half-season player. Jaquiski, I'm sorry. I want to say nice things about you. You are a versatile guy. You do your job well at every single – you're an above-average safety when healthy. It's just that I'm very hard on Jimmy Garoppolo for his lack of durability, and you're like in the same exact boat. I mean, you made Jason Verrett look like the Iron Man last year. Jason Verrett played 14 games in a row. I can't remember the last time Jaquiski Tartt did that. So if durability is a trait, if it's a skill, I've got to say he doesn't have it, and that's going to knock him down to average. Now, Jimmy Ward is an above-average safety.
He is.
So they're kind of in the middle. They're kind of in the middle. And the fact that they got Tavon Wilson and Tavarius Moore, that's pretty good depth.
Yeah.
So Maybe it is above average. Maybe it is. I'll give him above average. I'll give it to him.
Did you just sell yourself on it?
I'll give it to him.
Okay, all right.
Don't forget, Gardner's a tough guy, exactly who Kyle wants. Oh my god. Okay, here's why I don't like Gardner Minshew. Okay, I feel like he created a caricature of himself, and it actually worked.
Yeah,
and it's created like a position for him in the that's whack. The fact that he gets to be a starter because people think he's like kind of like kitschy, like, oh, look at him, he's like the Tiger King. No, it's not cute. All right, no, I don't like that.
I'm gonna make a comparison, and I hope he's watching because I love this guy so much. If East Bay Chris was a quarterback, he would be Gardner Minshew. Change your profile pic. Put on the 49er hat, Gardner Minshew. That's what I'm going with.
Pretty much. All right. There was one more comment we had, and then we got to hit special teams too.
Yes,
because that's important. Oh wait, no, that was it. I guess that was it.
Okay.
All right.
So special teams. I'm going to go average.
Oh, he just said put on a Minshew mustache this week for the fans. I'm telling you, he's too like bobbleheady. It's like you can market him, but you can't win with them. Mark Minshew mania, Minshew mustache. Like, no, you suck. I'm sorry. Don't. You have too much marketing. You know, it's like no.
He's a Pac-12 guy.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll stop you.
I just feel like if I were like Nick Mullins' agent, I'd be like, look, Nick, you got to do the mustache thing. I mean, look what it's doing for Gardner. I mean, you got to do the mustache thing. I don't know what to tell you. It worked for Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's working for Gardner. You got to do something with facial hair.
I agree, by the way. They probably are going to move on from Gardner, but it doesn't mean he's coming to San Francisco. But he's going to be gone most likely.
And here's another thing. The fact that who knows Gardner Minshew better than anyone? Jacksonville. Yeah. The fact that they decided that they'd rather have CJ Beathard and they didn't even know CJ, that says a lot about, I'm telling you, the feelings in that Jacksonville organization about Gardner Minshew are not good. They've had the Minshew experience for a couple of years, and they thought CJ Beathard would be a step up. That's bad.
Not a good thing.
Bad.
Maybe they think he's a starter in this league, and they just don't want to hold him back, knowing that they're going to take Lawrence.
No, teams are not nice. No.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought maybe there was a possibility there.
Maybe.
All right, so special teams.
All right.
I'm going to put us at average. I think kicker-wise, obviously, I think we're definitely above average, possibly elite, depending. Punter, I think we are probably average, and return team, we are definitely below average. So all encompassing, I'm going to put us at average.
Yeah.
And also kick coverage was not the best last year. Can we point that out?
I want to be tough on them here. I want to say that their special teams is below average. Slightly. It should be better than what
if average is C, I'll give them a C minus.
Yeah, I think C minus is fair. I mean, their return game in both punts and kicks is non-existent. They don't even try. It's almost like Kyle says, I don't trust you, just get the fair catch. That's weak.
That's all we get.
That's weak.
Just a bunch of this.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most teams get like 2 first downs a game from special teams that they wouldn't have necessarily got otherwise. Yeah. And the Niners don't get that. 20
special
yards,
teams can win you a game every season. And it doesn't for us. It loses us games.
Exactly.
You know what?
Exactly. So I gotta say that it's below average.
I'm leaning towards your side.
It shouldn't be as bad as it is either, because Debo should be the freaking kick returner.
Ayuk?
And Ayuk should be the freaking punt returner. And if they just did that, I think they'd be above average. But
I agree.
The problem is that they don't care. Kyle doesn't value it. So he's like, you know what? I'll just put these scrubs at returner and tell them don't do anything, don't mess it up. No, you put your playmakers back there because it's important. This is hidden yardage. This is the third phase of the game. If you win 2 of the phases, you win the game. That's my problem.
Dallas.
Serious.
I watched Dallas, who had nothing to play for when they played us. Who did they put in at the end of the game? When the game was already out of hand, by the way. Who was back there returning kicks? And who took it back for a touchdown?
CeeDee Lamb. But Brandon Ayuk is too important. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree with you.
They have the potential to be above average. Maybe even Debo returning kicks. That sounds way better than Cordero Patterson. And Patterson's the best of all time. I would love to see it. He did it at South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He could do it. Man. He could
Let him do it. He'll just run people over. So,
I know. Wouldn't it be
stop being scared. Okay, let's get to the final thing of our show, and then I gotta go.
Okay. All right.
Ranking the intangibles of football. This is cool.
Okay. So for me, we can start with injury. Where do the 49ers rank there? I think it's a clear below average. Like, this is an F-.
It's alarming. It's such an issue that they can't even say it's a fluke. It's something going on that is probably a bunch of different variables, but I don't even think they know what it is. And I can't see that they necessarily address the issue in any way this offseason unless there's something that's going to happen in training camp or I don't know. So yeah, it's far below average. It's the worst in the league.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that one's easy. All right. Leadership. So this is one that we've talked about a lot. Who's a leader on this team? Who's not a leader? I've got to say it's average. So I think that there are guys that lead by example, but I don't know who the voice of the team is. I really do not know who that is. I love that we brought in. Yeah.
I think it's Fred Warner.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. But
I mean, he's 25. He hasn't been in the team that long. He doesn't have the biggest voice. I don't think it's maybe
he's
it's
a lead
George
by
Kittle.
example guy. He's a lead by example guy again.
Fair enough.
So,
maybe it's George Kittle. I mean, George Kittle is very loud, but again, he's in and out.
Yeah,
he's in and out.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I guess the voice of the team when they were on the Super Bowl run was Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman was the voice of the franchise, and
that team was elite probably as far as leadership because you had Sherman and you had Staley.
Yep,
enough said.
And now those guys are gone, and Trent Williams just hasn't shown ever in his life that that's what he brings to a team. Maybe that'll change in his older age. Maybe Alex Mack brings that.
Yes.
I don't know Alex Mack that well. Maybe that's what Jimmy doesn't bring it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Everybody that had a C on their chest last year didn't deserve it. In my
Buckner
opinion.
left. He brought it. He was definitely a lead by example.
I forget. Yeah, I completely left him out. Yeah, 2019, he was absolutely a leader.
Let's see what Bosa can do too, because that's another lead by example kind of guy.
I agree.
So I say average with the potential to be above average if they get a new quarterback. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would say
it's hard to have above average leadership when it's everyone but the quarterback.
I agree.
He's kind of be in that, you know?
Yeah. I would say the last intangible is how much do you want to play for one another? And this team is probably elite in that category. We just watched Tart and Verrett go full court press to bring in K1 and get him back on this team. We see Kittle, regardless of what we think of Jimmy, he has Jimmy's back all the way. I think this team did plus.
Plus, look at the Week 16. They beat Arizona. They had nothing to play for. They beat Arizona with Beathard. And then the next week, they went down to the wire against Seattle. I mean, they do this. They've always been a very competitive team, no matter how bad they are.
Yeah.
I agree with you. They do.
I think that they're elite in that category.
So they say they have they're a family. They always say we're a family, but I always I'm cynical. It's like, well, you're kind of cliquey. Like, like maybe 30 of you are in a family. Right. But the other guys aren't really. But no, they do sort of have that family atmosphere where those 30 guys really do play for each other quite well.
Yeah. I agree with that. So no question they're elite in that category. Yes. And basically that means that they're an 11-6 team and fighting for second place in the division. That's kind of where I have them.
Yeah, I just don't take him seriously until they can get that quarterback position fixed because he undermines everything. Even when he's healthy, they have to work. Everything has to be perfect. Everyone has to be healthy. You start taking people out. Well, no, but I'm just going to be this is the optimistic 49ers after dark. And I really believe that Kyle and Mike have a quarterback up their sleeve that they like. Now, is it the right one? I don't know. But I do feel that they're not going to be Justin Fields or Trey Lance kind of guys, which gives me hope. If they feel like they really like Mac Jones or Kellen Mond or Kyle Trask, great. I think the Niners are headed in the right direction. Otherwise, I don't know. But I hear that they're big fans of 49ers After Dark, so I think we're going to set them straight. I
agree. One thing before you got to go, I know you got to get out of here, but Ben and I were talking, and he brought up that he thought Watson the whole time was plan A for the 49ers. Do you agree with that? And now we've got a monkey wrench that's thrown completely into Shanahan's plans, and now they're trying to scramble a little bit and figure out what's going on.
It's possible. I really don't know what Kyle and Mike are planning. It's possible that Watson was their number one plan. It's possible they freaking love Mac Jones or Kellen Mond, or we just don't know. I mean, they're very, very the kind of people who feel like they're the smartest people in football. They're not going to be swayed by what Daniel Jeremiah thinks, or they're going to look at this and be like, well, I don't know why everyone doesn't think so-and-so isn't the best. Yeah. It clearly is. That's just the way they are.
Yeah.
And if they have that much confidence and they take some dude at 12, good, because it's been 5 years. You need to take a quarterback in round one. You're going to get one of the top 5. You're going to get one of them, man. Yeah. I don't know. If you're the real deal as an offensive coach, make it work, dude. Make it freaking work.
All right.
Because everything you say about Jimmy, all of his limitations, okay, then that makes me feel like you can win with a rookie then, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because you basically call Jimmy a rookie. It's like, dude, I mean, he's a 29-year-old novice. I don't know what to tell you. He lacks experience. Doesn't see the field. Okay, then start a rookie then.
I agree, by the way. He does play like a freaking rookie.
That's what he can't see the field. He turns the ball over. He blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, then start a rookie.
Yeah.
Fine.
At least start a rookie that can protect himself.
Yeah, they can run a little bit and protect the football.
Yeah. Yeah, more importantly, protect the football. I agree.
Anyway, Jesse, this was I think this was our best one yet.
I agree.
Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. We'll be back same time, same place next week.